Sorry, I didn't realize everything was upside down. Let's try that again. So, this is the DIY, the do-it-yourself Hot Wheels kit that's on the website. And when you get it, it comes in the bag as such. So that's the 67 Chevy. This is the 68 Nova. And they're super easy to build. So when you get it out of the bag, it'll come apart. It's what some people call unspun. So it's unspun. But what you got on the bottom is the rivet is still intact. So they haven't been drilled and tapped. They're ready to accept the plastic bottom again. So they're really easy. I don't want to say like anybody can do it, because you know it takes an artist to do it, right? You don't want to be just anybody. These are chemically stripped, so all the paint is stripped off of them, and then I go back over them with a wire brush and a soap and water bath. So you can take this and you can paint it any color that you choose. If you're buying it for nieces and nephews and kids and such, they can very easily use any kind of non-toxic markers to color their cars and their trucks with. You know, whatever they like and whatever you have to use. When you put these back together, they're super easy to put back together. What I've done to make it nice is the holes are perfectly drilled to the rivets. So it just pops back together. And what you want to do after you get done with all of your nice painting, just want to slap your plastics together. Just about every single Hot Wheels, Matchbox, any kind of die cast like that is a 3-piece. Okay, pop that in. There's your 2 pieces. Now you've got your windows and your bed. This is however you like it. And then you take your bottom, and your bottom's going to pop back on those rivets. Now, because of the way that a Hot Wheels and Matchbox are built, you cannot just turn this over and put it on the wheels, because the bottom will naturally want to fall out. So you have to put it on something when you're waiting for it to dry. And yes, that's the next thing. You do have to use glue to put them back together, unless you have a magic wand and you can make it work that way, which would be great, because that's a fun part, right? Gluing's always fun. So once you get everything the way you want it, you got your colors the way you like it, and it's ready to go back together, what you want to do is you want to check the contact points, right, where things are going to match up. So in this one, it's on the sides. Obviously, it's on the rivet heads, right? And it's a 2-piece, 3-piece deal here. So what you want to do is use your favorite kind of contact cement, rubber glue, whatever you have will work. And that's the truth. You could use hot glue in this too. You just got to be very careful about where you put it. Now, the cool thing about these are drilled by hand. So there's no heat to the bit. That way, when you're ready to put all of your goodies back together, you just drop a little bit of glue in your essential spots. This window's been fighting me the whole time. You got to make sure you get your stuff together right. All right, so you put your glue in your contact spots. All right, one of them's going to be here, because the bottom of this is going to contact that, right? One of them's going to be on the rivet head. All right, so you got 2 rivet heads done. Now, this particular one falls in the front. So let's just drop a little bit in the front right there. Right, and then in the back, it drops in, so we can drop a little bit of glue right there. Now, like I said before, you got to remember that it doesn't sit on the wheels. It won't dry on the wheels. So you've got to pull something over for it to sit on. And pretty much everything you use is not going to be quick drying or anything like that. And like I said, these pop back together. All right, and you're going to make a little bit of mess. Okay, here is 2 really big tips. All right, we're going to turn this over now. Whoop. That's going to let that glue run into the plastic bottom. And don't worry, it's not going to run out or anything like that. And let it set up, you know, depending on your glue, how long you're gonna let it sit. Now, you have to be really, really careful. Any glue, it doesn't really matter what kind of glue, does not agree with whatever you colored your truck with. Whether it be paints and pins, if you get your fingers with glue on that paint, that's it, you're done. You're gonna have to start over again if you want a good paint job. The next thing, never, ever, ever, ever use super glue. Super glue is the worst thing that you can use on these cars. If you think it's okay now and you're done, 2 days from now, it won't be. It will eat the plastic. It will eat the paint. The vapors, as it dries, will fog the windows. And super glue has a heat to it when it bonds, when it dries. So sometimes that heat will actually warp the plastic bottoms of the car. So you got to be careful of that. So when you're done with everything, you've got a really nice put together car that you've painted yourself. And if you don't use too much glue and get it all over your fingers like I just did, you can't really tell that you've been inside it, right? Now, here's a couple of tips for you guys that want to paint your cars and trucks. You can hit any O'Reilly's auto parts and get the Duplicolor paints. The reason that I use and like the Duplicolor paints is because they dry quickly and you can lay the clear coat over the top just about any time that you want to. It's very, very user friendly. If you mess up your body, have a little can of paint thinner, throw it in the can of paint thinner, bam, you're ready to go again. Another thing, it's kind of a 3-step process. Maybe 4 if you include taking it apart and doing things like that. First step is you need to prime it, okay? So get yourself the Duplicolor Sandable Filler Primer. If you're doing a dark color, get the red oxide. If you're doing a light color, get the gray. Let that sit, because that way you don't have to sand that door handle off and you don't have to sand this door line off. You can just spray that with the filler primer and it'll clear all that junk. Every Hot Wheels has junk. They don't expect you to look at it naked. Once you get this thing naked, there's all kinds of casting problems that are in there that you'll need to deal with. You can do it a little bit with sandpaper, but mostly with the filler. They're not so bad, and I wouldn't ship you so bad of quality of a car that you'll have to worry about that. The next thing is the paint. Okay, this is where everybody screws up. Everybody wants to be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. You need a minimum 2 coats, possibly 3 coats of paint, and a minimum of 2 coats, possibly 3 coats of clear. So the next thing that you do is you lay 1 very fine coat of paint, no matter what you're using, to let the paint and the metal bond together. So they'll need to electrically bond together. And let that sit for a minute so that they can get to know each other, have a couple drinks, hang out, and then they're ready to really put some pressure on them. So then you hit it with another light to medium coat to where you can't really see the primer color anymore, but you kind of can. And that's going to be your second coat. And that'll keep you from blowing away these door lines with your paint. You need a nice thin paint job, not thick. Otherwise, you'll just drown everything out. Your paint may look great, but you're still not going to have any lines in your car anymore. Okay, so the third coat. Here comes the third coat. You've let the 2 coats dry for about 5 to 10 minutes in between on the Duplicolor paint cans. And your third coat needs to be a nice medium coat, not a heavy coat, a medium coat. And it will be your final color coat. All right, that's going to give you your real paint job on the car. Now, let it sit and dry and set up. You let it set up to where it's just a little bit drier than tacky. So maybe a half an hour if you're using the Duplicolor, and I'll put a link to that. And hit it with your clear. Sometimes if you wait too long, and your paint dries too much, and it doesn't matter if you're using the same products or not, the clear coat will make the paint lift, and you'll get orange peel and just different things. You have to be super clean in order to get a really great paint job, and think about how small we're working here. So you want to lay that third color, and then you want to go into your clear coats about 15 minutes later, and you want to do basically the same thing. You want to lay a nice light coat of clear. That way the clear and the paint can get to know each other again, just like the metal and the paint did. After you let that sit for maybe 2-3 minutes, you hit it with the second medium coat of clear. Now's the time when you stand back and you say, okay, is that enough clear? Or do I need to hit it again? Because sometimes you can drown things out with the clear. You've got to remember, you've got 3 coats of paint and 2 coats of clear on it now. Do you really want that third coat of clear? If it needs it, then yeah, do it. Because you haven't let it dry all the way, the third coat of clear will kind of mesh itself with the second coat, and you'll be in good shape. But you really want to make sure that you're not drowning everything out. So once you get all that done, you want to let it dry at least a day, because you're not hurrying to go get this out somewhere. You really want it to look nice. So let it dry for at least a day before you clamp it back together like I done showed y'all, right? The wheels are a different video. It is on here. It's really, really easy. Once you have the cars apart, they're very simple to change out. If you want to grab some of those custom wheels while you're getting some of these kits, see how that one came apart? Nice and hard. Okay, so you can get your custom wheels over at the site too, and you just pop these out. And what I do is I use a little soldering iron in there to get those out, and then you just put your new ones in and pop everything back together the way you like it. You can watch the video on that too. So that's basically it. There's your DIY kits and some tips and tricks on how to get everything done. Go visit the website. I'm always adding more.